And we're live. So tonight's topic is most inspirational moment ever. So a couple really quick things. Want to thank the sponsors, Kenzies Optics, Riton Optics, Taurus USA, Crossbreed Holsters, and of course Canik. Without them, we wouldn't be able to do this. So make sure you thank them. I want to thank everyone who joined the Patreon. It's available through Podbean. A lot of guys chipped in. They see what I pay in shipping. They see what goes on. They see all that stuff. So I really, really appreciate them. I am going to fire up the Instagram so we can get rolling. So I appreciate everybody who participates in those things. I can't thank you guys enough. Now, quick thing here. I want to address sandbagging and contests. I'm going to send out an email. If you haven't signed up for the email list, on the website, sign up for the email list. I'm going to send out an email with the contest rules. I usually send out a nice big email that gets everybody involved in the contest. You guys know because you come in here, so I don't have to stress it as much. My website. So head over to my website, www.johnbartoloshow.com. I appreciate it if you do. Thank you to everybody, like I said, who signed up for the Patreon. It's available through Podbean. If you have trouble signing up for the Podbean and you have trouble signing up for the Patreon, Cassie can walk you through it. I already thanked all the sponsors, thanked all you guys. I appreciate everyone. The Podbean Patreon means a lot because you guys see what I eat in shipping costs. Some weeks it's like $80, some weeks it's like $100. So Cassie will post, how's this? Cassie will post the link up in her story. She can get a link up in her story. I usually put the link in my story. The website link is just www.johnbartoloshow.com. That's it. www.johnbartoloshow.com. In American Merit. If you head over to the YouTube, it's right there to click. So head over. So earlier I took a little poll, and you guys have been doing fabulous, by the way, with the comments, with the interaction. It's been phenomenal. And you've done a fantastic job with all of that. So Cassie put that up. Cassie, can you add to that? Head over to YouTube, comment, and share, and I'll pin it. On there. So we talked earlier about most inspirational moment ever. I was getting a little sentimental with Easter coming. Yes, you do, Chuck. I was getting a little sentimental with Easter coming, and I wanted to put some good positive vibes out there, and I wanted to put some good stuff out into the universe. There's a lot of really good stories there, and I'm glad you all shared your stories, not just with me, but with each other. It's really important. And after I sign off, I hope you share more, because I think that stuff's good stuff to do, especially this time of year. It's great to do that stuff. So do me a favor. Share your story. Share it in the comments down below of this on YouTube when we're done. So a lot of Cassie actually asked me, a couple people asked me, they said, what's yours? And I said, watch the show and we'll talk about it. So I've had a lot of really inspirational moments in my life, and I struggled with sharing this one with you guys. But I thought it was important. But I'm going to talk about a couple of them. I'm going to pin it. Yeah, Cassie, I need you to put YouTube, comment, and share, and the website. Head over to YouTube, comment, and share, and put the website. All I see is pin it. So there's a couple I want to share. A couple stories. I've had a lot of super inspirational moments and inspirational people. I don't get as inspired watching people do like deeds, like, you know, they show guys doing things or gals doing things. I don't know why. I just don't have that trigger. It doesn't, like, wow, this guy, you know, he walked for the first time. I don't know why. it's more, I believe anything's possible. So I think if you work hard enough, you can almost make anything possible on some level today, especially with technology. And I think people show a lot of heart and determination. But I look for inspiration in the way people do things and the way people take the time. So I've had a lot of inspiring people that genuinely have taken an interest in seeing people do well. And that's what inspires me. Now I'm going to get to my stories, but it's important to understand what inspires me. When people genuinely take an interest in someone else's success or what they're doing good, that to me is paramount. Because there's so much negativity and there's so many negative people and there's so much baloney. Keep typing it out. Keep trying, Cassie. Change it around. So it means a ton when people do. So one of my stories centers around when I was younger growing up. I grew up in a town that was, everybody was very hard on each other. Everybody was very tough on each other. And it was one of those towns. It was literally the town, pretty much, from the movie. So you got inspired by your coaches and the people that pushed you. And I learned a lot and got inspired from coaches and people that pushed me. And I've always kind of taken a line from that. So this is going to stem into my big one. But I had a lot of coaches growing up. One of them being my high school football coach, as well as being one of my little league coaches. They were all great, phenomenal, influential people. We had a lot of good people around us. We had a lot of good folks. So I've always responded really well to coaches in my life that took an interest in making sure I succeeded. Now, I responded to a certain amount of coaching a certain way, so I would butt heads sometimes with some coaches. But I always responded pretty well to that. So shout out to all the coaches out there. If you think you've never coached anyone or influenced someone, you have. And that taught me a lot about myself. And I was inspired to carry that message forward. And part of my public service was I got into coaching for a while after. And that's what I felt was necessary. As far as the second story that's going to contribute to the last one, I can't see it, Cassie. As far as my second one that influenced me and inspired me, I had a very close family member of mine pass away. And one of the things that they passed on to me that somewhat led me down this path is they inspired me to go out and chase happiness. And they stressed to me that you only live once. And more often than not, it hit home with me because the amount of negative people in this world that tell you can't or you won't or you shouldn't is overwhelming. Now, that doesn't mean if you have kids, you throw them in a dumpster. You have to work with what you have. And if you have things that maybe make you pursue your dreams in a different way, you have to work with what you have. I was blessed with at least an opportunity to go in a lot of different directions and take chances. And I did. So here's the deal. The third one being the most important and being part of my story, and I'll get more intimate about it, is when the chips are down or times are tough, you realize what's important and who's important to you. And you see who sticks by your side through things. And you see who is there for you through thick and thin. And I'll be honest with you, we've all had highs and lows. And I've had times where stuff was very hard. I questioned everything. And I was fortunate and blessed that certain people came into my life, and God's funny like this, and I don't get too religious, where I believe he puts people in your life that will show you a sign. They'll show you a sign, and they'll show you a path. And you have to believe in that path. And you have to follow the sign. So I find inspiration in very different places. Okay? And I find it a lot of times in the seasons. Okay? And in the paths. So going through some things I went through over the last 6 months, year, 2 years, you start to question things. Geez, was I on the right path? Was I doing the right things? Was this happening to me? Thank you, Jane. It's important. So I don't know that I'm going to see somebody run a marathon that's going to do this. And I think that stuff is inspirational on a different level. And it's sometimes, Chuck, it's not about winning and learning. When people come into your life, they shine a light. And sometimes that light is good or it's bad. There's dark light and there's bright light. And there's people that are just negative and you just can't put them around you. Or they try to influence you and you just can't put them around you. So you fall into holes. And sometimes you have to just walk out of the hole. And everybody gets in a hole. So I was at a point in my life where I was questioning a lot of the things I was doing. And I had this person come into my life. We dated. And she was phenomenal. She was great. She came in my life at the right time. She showed me a lot of things. She taught me a lot of things. And she taught me probably the most important thing. It's a lot of acceptance of what comes to you. And how to kind of wade through that. And how to kind of like with an oar, like you're steering a kayak, steer through that. And it was interesting because I was always a pusher and I would press up against the norm. And I learned to kind of just wade through it. And I learned that at a time when it was the most important. I can honestly say everybody gets judged. If you put yourself out there, you're going to be judged. Donald Trump gets judged every day by the papers. You're going to get judged. The bigger the profile, the more you're going to get judged. Some of that judgment is okay. Some of it's not okay. People should form opinions. I was fortunate and blessed that I had somebody come into my life that helped me process all that judgment. Jane, if I think I'm reading your question right, it's how do you get out of it if it's that bad you can't explain really? I'm trying to read your question the correct way. If you can, retype it. Chuck says, I learn by watching and then try to be better than my peers. Yeah, I mean, that's more of a success strategy, right? And it depends on your definition of success. We've talked about that before. You may be watching your peers play hockey, and I could give two shits about hockey. So I'm talking about learning to accept a lot of what life throws at you and understand and process that the proper way and have it find its place. So I went through a period where, it's, you question everything, you go through all those things, and I think God uses people and he puts people in their life. And whether you're religious or not. And people come into your life at the right time and they shine certain light. And you have to be always mindful of what light you're accepting. I read a really inspirational story, about this that got me kind of triggered on this. About a woman who was 21 years old. Let's find the article. She was on drugs, living in Hawaii. She had no place to live, was living in her car, had no strategy. I'll get to that, Jane. Had no strategy. She was doing coke and getting high and drinking and working in a bar in Hawaii, couldn't afford a place, and was just getting by day. She found a diet and fitness article. Back then they used to mail them. It was paper that she would train. And she had no phone, nothing, and she used a bar room as her mailing address, and she got a phone answering service and posted in a post office that she was offering diet and fitness help, and sold these diet plans, and she sold 40 of them in the first run for $100, and she made $4,000. So she used that as fuel, as a marketing strategy. And this was back in the 90s. So she got resourceful. She found her way out of a hole. Okay, so Jane says, how can we get out of the hole if it's bad and unexplainable to someone to ask help or something? That's something you have to determine, Jane. You haven't hit rock bottom if you're not willing to explain it. You hit rock bottom when you're willing to explain. There's a time and a place to tell your story. Whether that's with a therapist, a close friend, or somebody that you can get some, what I call listening advice. Rock bottom has different meaning for a lot of people. Well, in the job I'm in, like the Army, owning my business while doing networks, now helping my friends doing trim work. You have to use things as a means to an end. Been there, reason, season, or lifetime is a pretty good saying that fits a lot of people coming into your life. Yes. Knox, absolutely. And CJ, and you have a network. Cassie's saying she'll be your ear. Get on a WhatsApp call. Get on a Skype call. Get on something. I know you're in South Africa. And anybody who knows me knows I do my best to answer people, to listen, to give people the most positive feedback that I can. Yeah, Jane, call a stranger. Sometimes a stranger is the best person to talk to. You're not saying Cassie's a stranger, but get on the phone with a stranger. And to better answer your question, you have people come into your life that can give you not all the answers, but sometimes the best possible scenario and help you talk through how it's going to play out. Hey, if you do this, this might happen. Hey, if you do that, that might happen. And any way you can chip in and help each other is the most important thing. And I know this edges on sounding corny, but it's really important. I don't care who you are. We've all been to some form of therapy. Whether it's intervention from a friend, whether it's actually going to a therapist, whether it's going to a shrink, whether it's talking to someone, we've all been through it. And I just believe in holes. You fall in holes. Some people call them ruts. It doesn't matter how it sounds, Jane. That's where you have to hit rock bottom. It doesn't matter how it sounds. You just need someone to talk to. Life's too short to be down in the dumps. Find someone that's willing to listen and help you work through your things. It won't be easy, but it's worth it in the long run. That's right. American merit. You just find someone to talk to. It doesn't matter how it sounds. You could have had somebody steal your Twizzlers. or your Rice Krispie treats, and that could put you down in the dumps. And you just want to talk to someone. I always use the term, and I've used this a lot. I would say to people when I would talk to them, am I crazy? And I would bounce ideas off them. I would bounce them. I would say, am I crazy for thinking this? You have a right to feel what you feel no matter what. It's correct. Your feelings are your feelings. Yours alone. So I suggest to all of you, and I suggest to everyone, when certain things come into your life, you have to know what to embrace, what light to embrace, and what light to push away. So the most inspiring moment to me was when that person came into my life and they stuck by me for who I was, but also what I wasn't and what I was trying to be. And they stuck by and they listened and they made me feel like somebody was listening. And I don't care who you are, you'll go through these phases and they'll happen. And it's just a season. Sometimes the best person to open up to, Jane, is a stranger. Sometimes it's just somebody new in your life. And that's what I found. I was kind of like, oh my God, I can't believe this is happening to me. How could I be going through this? This is nuts. Do a lot of self-evaluation and you talk it out. And I questioned everything I thought I knew. But I knew that I had enough validation and I knew that I wasn't that person. So, yeah, because they have no vested interest in the comment. Yeah, it's absolutely right, Knox. They have no vested interest in the outcome. And that's why sometimes a stranger is good. Definitely, season's the worst for me right now. It's a season, though, Jane. And I think the first step is talking to someone, like I said, getting on a WhatsApp call and talking to Cassie or getting, and talk. Don't just DM. Talk. Get it off your chest. Let them know what you're going through and get some good feedback. And sometimes just hearing a warm voice on the other end gives you some direction. Now, coming back to that story, this woman ended up starting a multi-million-dollar business and was uber successful. And she was probably in the worst place she could have been in life. She was at rock bottom. She said she was trying to commit suicide. She was trying to kill herself. And she ended up wading through it, little by little. And it took time. And she said it didn't happen overnight. Yeah, the worst thing you can do is turn to drugs or booze or anything. So when people talk about inspirational moments, there's people that inspire you. I get that. But there's things I'm not into. Like, I see people run a marathon and I have anxiety. I can't run a marathon. I don't have desire to. It's not going to happen. But there's other things that inspire. There's moments. There's moments. And when you have these moments, capture them, because I'll never forget them. And let those people in your life, because you won't forget them for a long time. And I hope that you guys understand what I'm trying to put on you. And I'm trying to explain to you guys that what you let into your life is going to be so influential. And it's nice to have the Gary V's of the world. It's nice to have the Andy Frisillas. It's nice to have the Jocko Willeniks. It's nice to have all that stuff. But I don't sit up here and I'm not like, you need to get out and do this and fuck everything else and conquer the world and don't be a pussy or anything like that. they're all good and they have their place. And I think they speak from a certain platform. I'm just speaking from what I've been through because I'm still in the journey. They're no longer in the journey. Those people are multi-millionaires. They're in a different kind of journey. I'm still going through it and I'm still living through it. Yeah, Gary Vee's a big accountability guy. For sure. I'm, more in a place where I'm still figuring out if I can do something that I want to do on my terms. And that's the most important thing to me. And over the last 6-8 months, I've had a lot of people, including you guys, show me that I could. And that's been the most important thing to me, in the support and everything else. Yeah, I think doing one thing for yourself is important. And I think, Chuck, for you and whoever else, everybody knows I do my best I can to get back to people. I get inundated with DMs. I get hit over the head with a lot of stuff. So I do that stuff. But I'll guarantee you, I'd bet every dollar I got. There's not another person in the 2A community that's going to make himself as accessible. There's not another person in this community that's going to be as real with you. And there's not another person in this community that's going to have actually worked in the community and had the experience I had and is going to give it to you as real as I have. I will tell you all you want to know. I will tell you everything that I do know. And I will be as honest and forthright with you as I can. And I will do that every step of the way. And I will give it back tenfold. Said it from the beginning. Don't need to be rich. Don't need to make millions. Just trying to give you guys solid content. I appreciate American Merit. And I'm here too. I do the best I can. I do the best I can, with everybody. And I know you guys understand that, There's people I've gone back and forth with. I do the best I can to answer the messages and everything else. And when you guys support me and you support and make the comments and you do the interaction and you do all that stuff on YouTube, it's genuinely heartfelt. I go through and I read that stuff. I read it. I look at it. And it means the world to me. So it's what keeps me going. So when you slow down or you stop, or there's a night I wake up and there's not a fresh page of comments, I feel it. Because right now I'm in that vulnerable stage, where I'm counting on you guys and I need every bit I can get. And it means a lot. So the more you give, believe me, I feel it. So you all inspire me. I draw inspiration from that. I've had people inspire me, and I've had people inspire me to show me how great people can be. And it's not through an athletic venture. It's not through anything like that. It's more felt through people's actions and people's willingness to stand up to the norm or stand up to some norm and push back and say, I don't know about that. Or I don't know about this. And I feel this way or I feel that way. So I ask all of you over the next couple of weeks as things transition and we go through Easter, keep it up. Keep doing what you're doing. Don't stop. And there'll be lives and there'll be podcasts and there'll be things I do, but keep it up. And as the podcast transitions and I have some guests on, continue to support, continue to share, and continue to push the stuff out there and continue to tap the hearts and continue to do all that stuff. because I'm asking you to support the things that I'm doing and trying to do. And I think it's super important to put good vibes out there. And it doesn't always have to be, I'm the biggest badass because of this, or I'm crazy because of that, or I'm going to drink and I'm going to party on my live and I'm going to do this. I think that stuff's buffoonery, a lot of it. And I think a lot of it's posturing, and I think a lot of it's acting. And it's not real. It's not. You're not going to convince me it's real. No one's going to. But I think people need to understand the difference between real and real acting. And they need to understand real recognizes real. And if you're going to put yourself in that position where you're going to allow yourself to be out there, you're going to take a lot of hits. But Easter, everyone finds out we're having a baby. Shh. Watch my mother's a loser shit. Oh no. Is that real? Congratulations if it's real. So I appreciate everybody. We are going to be doing a couple more epic giveaways. I have one more knife left. I'm going to pick one more winner on YouTube for a knife. I have one more left. I'm going to turn it over. Congratulations then, Dago. So I'm going to open it up to you guys for the last 10 minutes if you have any questions or you want to ask me anything in honor of Easter, because I'll be getting in my car. How I'm going to spend my Easter, guys, just so you know, is I'm going to be in my car and I'm going to be driving. And I'm going to be heading to NRA, and then from NRA, I have to drive 1,700 miles, and then I have to drive another 1,000 miles or so across the country. So if anybody needs to talk, I don't care what hour it is, I'm here. Got to get your Jesus pieces on. So if anybody needs to have a conversation or anybody needs to talk, I am 100% here, and I have nothing but open road in front of me. I'll probably do some lives. I'll do my best to chat it up with you guys. But that's where I'll be, is on the road. So, Jane, you need to have a WhatsApp call. I'm here. Easter Sunday. If no one has anyone to spend Easter with, give me a call. Several booths. I'll be at Breakthrough. I'll be at, probably stopping by Vertex. I'll be at Canic. I'll be at Right On for a minute. Yeah, Jane, you need to talk? I'm on the road. Let's chat. Give me my WhatsApp. We can have a deep heart-to-heart. But if anyone has any questions, I'm going to open up the floor to at least one or two questions for me if anybody needs to talk or anybody has a question for me. So fire away. I am going to do an NRA show at some point. I'll do that. But I'll have plenty of time to do that next week. If the shows get a little sparse over the next week or so, I get to 2 or 3 a week. Please be patient. More is coming. Just be patient with me. There'll be plenty of lives. Yes, Suresh is going. Be patient. Yeah, we'll do semi-auto. We'll do NRA in some way, shape, or form. Either, Sunday or Monday. You got plenty of time to do it. And we'll do, obviously, a recap. Other than YouTube comments or Patreon, how can we help you more? Tell me what to blow up. Obviously, Instagram is a good one. if you're on Twitter, Semi-Auto Kid's been awesome on Twitter. Find me on Twitter. It's JJ Bartolo. Find me on Twitter. If Twitter's always a great place to share stuff, share the YouTubes. That's always a good way. Share the YouTubes, but also if you have Spotify or you have any of those things, go on there and download an episode. Just downloading episodes is a huge help, American Merit. Any little bit that involves some interaction is a huge help, and I appreciate you bringing that up. Any little bit. I think I'm up to 210 or so reviews on iTunes, and I'm trying to get it to about 300 or 400. So every little bit helps. Yeah, don't neglect Twitter. Don't neglect Twitter. So head over to Twitter. Twitter's a great platform. Yeah, the more people you can get to leave a review on iTunes, it's huge. It goes a long way. So any of that stuff, and really sharing the live, pushing the live. Would you go worldwide, or what you do, like a tour type of thing, if the opportunity comes? Yes, I would, Jane. I would. In the past, and you haven't been around long enough to know this, Jane, I've run 2 podcasts. One was uber successful. This is my 3rd podcast. I've been sponsored by every major brand you can think of at different points in time in the fitness industry and in firearms business. I've probably worked with the company on a paid level. So I've done a lot of different speaking engagements. I've done a lot of different stuff. It's going to take all you guys pushing as much of this forward for something like that to happen. So if the opportunity did come, I'd have no issue with it. So when I ask you guys to get in there and tag companies, tag people, I'd love to get on like a Joe Rogan. That would be obviously a great opportunity. I've done Mark Bell's podcast. There's some podcasts I'd love to do. I'd love the opportunity to do. But that would be something that, it would have to happen on its own. So whether it's the Tim Ferriss podcast or Gary Vee or any of those guys. So if that's stuff you want to see me do, you have to tag them. Tag them in posts. Tag them. And maybe they're willing to let someone on. That gives you a bigger platform to talk and discuss. Yeah. I mean, so when you go on there, yeah. I mean, I've done Mark Bell's, which Semi-Auto Kid, Mark Bell's is a big one. I did that when I was on a different podcast. I would totally, Joe Rogan's the best one. He and I grew up in the same area, so that would be a very cool one. It'd be very cool. So, I mean, I would take those opportunities as they would come up, but whether it's companies that I work with or companies that get behind this, the groundswell of support here and tapping the hearts and sending out the paper airplanes to invite people in, that's probably the most important thing, and getting the call to action. What's up, action targets? Johnny Targets. So getting that call to action. Yeah, Mark Bell's was an awesome podcast. I did a whole stream on that. I had a great time at Mark's. Mark taught me a lot. And I learned a ton. So that was a great opportunity. So the more people you get into these lives, or the more people you share these with and tell people that they need to tune in or they need to watch, if each one of you got 10 people to participate in some way, shape, or form, that would be huge. And that would be probably the best thing you could do. we're going to do another round of giveaways. So I'll probably, even if it's putting together a DM that gets passed around, pass around a DM. I would absolutely do a podcast with an anti-gun person. That's not a problem. And I probably have at some point. I've never debated them, but I wouldn't be opposed to it. What's up, Rob? I wouldn't be opposed to it. I believe in that's everything the 2A community represents. I don't like how it represents itself sometimes, but that's a byproduct of a lot of things. So, I appreciate all you guys, and I appreciate everyone participating. The best thing you can do is get as many people engaged as possible, whether that's leaving iTunes reviews, you've been working a lot, Rob, whether that's leaving iTunes reviews, leaving comments on the YouTube, sharing the YouTubes, and doing everything that you can to boost or forward as much of this as you can. The more that you do it organically and real, and the more that you help get folks involved, and the more you tap that paper airplane and invite people in. And it's not just about the free stuff, guys. It can't just be about the free stuff. It has to mean more than the free stuff to all of you. So it's really simple. I can start a group message tonight with everybody in it that I can think of that's in here. And it's just about sharing the opportunity to participate. And if you send it off to 25 and you get 10 people to engage and participate, and go subscribe to the YouTube and do as much of that, put a story, put a post, whatever it is, that can go a long way. As far as Sunday goes, I mean it when I say it. I'll be on the road. I'll probably be going live. I'll be driving. That's my Easter. My Easter is in the car. So whoever wants to hang out with me, talk, I'll have plenty of open road to talk. I'll have plenty of open road to be available. So whoever wants to have those conversations, happy birthday, Cassie. Saturday's Cassie's birthday, everybody. I'm going to give you a happy birthday now. So please don't hesitate. I'm going to sign off. Maybe I'll go live in a little bit. Chat it up with you guys. In the meantime, I'm going to let you guys work. I have one more knife to go give away. I have one more knife. So head over to my Instagram and tag whomever you want. Okay? Maybe some of those people that you want to see me do stuff with. The podcast is more than just gauze. Yeah, gauze are great, but they're just a bonus. I'm sure everyone in this live can agree that they're here for a conversation. Gauze comes second. Absolutely. So, I don't have a Ron Cohen story. I don't know it yet. I got to look into it. So, do me a favor, guys. Head into my last post. I'll give you guys a half hour, and I promise I'll go live with you again. Head into my last post. Comment everybody that you wanted to. That's awesome, Daryl. That you wanted to see me interact with or see me, do podcasts with and stuff like that. And head over to YouTube and put on some streams, put on some videos. The biggest thing with YouTube, guys, is the watch time. So if you let it run or you let one of them run, let them run for like 20 minutes. The biggest thing is watch time. So if you can raise the watch time, that's the most important. And leave reviews on iTunes, Podbean, anywhere. And some people are buying shirts and stuff like that. That's all helpful too. There's some new shirts up there too. So I'm going to give you guys about a half hour to work. I'll be watching the comments come through on YouTube, and I'll be answering every comment individually. And I'll be looking at all the stuff come through on IG. So do me a favor and do your best to let me know how I can help and what I can do. And I'll come back on in about a half hour.